Hello, everybody. It's me, Freddie Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome to another edition of Freddie Friday Story Funtime with me, your host, as I just did, Fred Friday, and my producer too. Please say your name, James. What's going on with this book bag today? What do you want? You're wearing a book bag. Oh yeah, well you know, listen. Episode 87, that's it, episode. You're gonna be called Freddie's Winter Recess. You know? Freddie's Winter Recess? Yeah, 'cause the kiddies in school in New York here, they're off their week. That's true, they are. For President Week, yes, they are. But you know, even though I'm a grown-ass doggy, I kind of put myself back to school this week, you know? You did? Yeah. Why is that? Well, you know, I wanted to learn more about the President of the United States since it's President Week. Okay, yeah, so can we go over some of the things that I like? Of course. What kind of things you talking about? I meant presidential things. Okay, presidential thing, yeah. So I'm thinking maybe I could just talk about maybe the 5 favorite facts that I learned recently, or just like expand upon some things that presidents have done that I found interesting, maybe more than like or dislike, you know, 'cause I'm not trying to get political or like, talk about what I think of the actual presidential terms of all these guys. But, you know, I just want to talk about some of that stuff, you know? Okay, yeah. So I'm going to start. Well, please do. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, yes, the longest serving president of the United States, served from 1932 to 1945 when he passed away during the beginning of his 4th term. That's true, yeah. So what do you want to talk about him? Well, you know, he was a president who was about the radio, as you know. That's true. He gave his fireside chats on the radio. Yeah, I like that. What he was basically doing was talking to the people during the heart of the Great Depression and kind of, you know, letting the people hear his voice and telling them what was going on and why he needed to, you know, like when he closed the banks in 1932. Yeah, that was a very scary time. Yeah, and he was talking to the people. And, you know, I mean, today, you know, a day that will live in infamy, you know, December 7th, 1941, he said that. That's right, he did say that. Yeah, so FDR, he started a new deal, but I like that he talked to the people on the radio all the time, like weekly, right? Usually weekly. And he kept people, you know, like he kept them abreast of the situation. Another thing about him, and we know he had polio, right? That's true. Yeah, and he couldn't really walk, you know? But very early in his presidential term, he basically said to the press, listen, please do not shoot me in a wheelchair or trying to struggle to walk. It's not good for the country. And they actually said, yeah, you're right, we won't do that. And they never did. So you never saw him with, you know, I don't want to call it a disability because we can't say that these days, but you know what I'm trying to say. Nobody ever saw him using a wheelchair or struggling to walk because they had a deal. So he always seemed strong and level-headed, you know? You know? Yes, I know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's FDR. Yeah. Okay. How about a charming president? Jacqueline? I'm sorry. John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. Yeah, president from 1961 to 1963. And, you know, unfortunately, he was assassinated. I know that, yeah. But, you know, he was a really good public speaker. He had a lot of forward-thinking ideas. And, well, you know, he came from a kind of suspect family, if we're going to be honest. Yeah, possibly, yes. What did they call that? Camelot. Yes, Camelot. Yes. That was the, you know, the death of Camelot when he was assassinated. Yeah. But, you know, he was quite a man, I have to say. A true war hero. That's true. A true World War II war hero. Yeah. Back injury from the war. He hurt his back several times in his leg. Yeah. Taken from us too soon. Definitely so. Yeah. Well, that's 2 people. Yeah, that's 2. I'm going to go with Abraham Lincoln now, you know, because that's kind of an easy one. 16th President of the United States. A house divided cannot stand. Ushered the country through the Civil War. Gave a rousing speech at Cooper Union in 1860. He has a famous portrait, a photographic portrait by Matthew Brady that he took. That's the one without the beard, you know, before he was president. That's very true. You know your stuff. Yeah, I know. And he gave this rousing speech at Cooper Union here in New York City. Named after Peter Cooper. That's true. Yeah. And it really put him on the map, and he became the president because of that. The Democrat candidate in New York was Stephen Douglas, right? Stephen Douglas? I think so, yeah. But his being elected tore the country apart, and he spent the next 4+ years putting it back together. And let's just say, don't go see My American Cousin or whatever the play was that he was seeing at Ford's Theater that night. I know. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Killing a conspiracy, Yes, definitely conspiracy to kill him, the vice president, potentially Andrew Johnson, and the Secretary of State at the time. Yeah. There were a lot of people crying at the time, too, when that happened, just like now. I know. Yeah, so that's the third president we're talking about. 16th president, first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. Emancipation Proclamation. Of course I know. Yeah. Who else, Freddie? Well, he's not too popular these days, I guess, by revision on history, but Theodore Roosevelt, FDR's cousin. Yes, the other side of the Roosevelt. Roosevelt and Roosevelt, they pronounce it differently. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that. But Teddy Roosevelt, one of the faces of Mount Rushmore, an asthmatic child as a kid, and we could tie him to Abraham Lincoln because there's a famous photo of Lincoln's body in state being taken to Union Square in 1865 in New York City. And what Teddy Roosevelt grew up in Union Square, and you could see a little boy in one of the windows looking out at the procession going by, and it's Teddy Roosevelt. That's true. It's not just a rumor. That really was him. Yeah, the little boy. Yeah. I think, yeah. Well, he was asthmatic. He really pushed himself and strove himself. He talked about being in the arena, in the arena. Yeah, like the person in the arena trying to do the thing. Getting up, falling down again, keep going and going, while other people stand on the outside telling them what they're doing right or doing wrong, but not jumping into the arena themselves. He was a true embodiment of that. He was. Once was New York's police commissioner. That's true, he was New York's police commissioner, and a tough one at that. Yeah. I think he was New York police commissioner. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah. And definitely a tough one. Sure, he was kind of imperialist. The only time in the country, really, officially, that we had an imperialist policy, But he got the Panama Canal created. Or at least he started that, Yeah. The Spanish-American War. Was it the Spanish-American War then? Turn of the century? Come on, man. You got to back me up. Sorry. I'm just trying to make sure your facts are right. Well, look, I'm picking Teddy Roosevelt because, he had that iron will. And you don't always agree with the people with the iron will, but you can respect that he's down in the trenches trying to get things done. Okay, that's four of them. Well, and the fifth one, I'm going to go with, I would say George Washington because that's pretty easy. Let's say George Washington. Okay, yeah, George Washington, former commander of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. That's true. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Why? The Native Americans considered him to be blessed because he was never wounded in battle, even though his horse was shot out several times. Even maybe a hat was shot from his head, but he never actually had a wound. No, he never did. Yeah. He was going to retire to his farm on Mount Vernon after the war. Live just a civilian's life. On, evacuation. Have you ever heard of Evacuation Day? November 25th, Evacuation Day. Yeah, basically what that was in New York City. New York was the last place but the British still had a stronghold after the Revolutionary War, and they left officially on November 25th of 1783, and it was called Evacuation Day because they had to evacuate the city. And shortly thereafter, George Washington had a goodbye dinner and speech at this restaurant that you love, yeah, Francis Tavern in New York, yeah, and upstairs in the long room where he planned on retiring to a stately life. But, just a few years later, he was called out to be the first president. Yes, he was, because nobody in this country afraid of monarchy, we just got rid of being under the thumb of a king. Yeah. Well, nobody really had anybody they wanted to follow. The state laws and Articles of Confederation almost killed the country really before it even started. Yeah, it needed to be a central power. And, well, guess who was the one person people would be willing to follow, both in government and the citizens themselves? George Washington. And he served 2 terms, 8 years, and then he basically resigned, setting a precedent that only FDR has ever broken. That's true. And after FDR, nobody's going to break it because of the amendment not allowing there to be more than 2 terms served. That's right, Freddie. Freddie, this is an incredibly long story. It's 10 minutes. Oh, my God. Well, listen, that's what happened when you're studying, you're back to school, you're being presidential. Listen, people, we've had a lot of presidents. Some of them are worth looking up. McKinley, Andrew Jackson, he a polarizing figure, you know. I know. Yeah. William Henry Harrison, only served a month. Gave too long of a inauguration speech, caught pneumonia and died. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Martin Van Buren, a Tammany Hall Grand Sachem, and man of New York. Anyway, Dan, I'm going way too long. You are. Yeah. Well, listen, people. That wasn't a jokey joke story. I just wanted to talk about my president that I've been studying. So maybe look some people up or look up the figures that you find interesting. Anyway, where did I find it, producer? You can find them at Freddie Friday on YouTube. What do you mean M? You mean me? Find me at Freddie Friday on YouTube. At Freddie Friday Story Funtime on Instagram. And you can send me or him an email. At Freddie Friday Story Funtime at gmail.com. So into Tuesday's much shorter joke session. What do we take, producer? What do we say, Freddie? Toodles. To the one you love.